In this video, we're diving deep into everything about Doma, his backstory, who fought him, and finally, how he was defeated. So if you're curious, keep watching. During the Infinity Castle arc, when all the demon slayers get separated, just like I explained in another video, Shinobu ends up face to face with Upper Moon 2, Doma. And the moment she sees him, she realizes he's the one who killed her sister. Now, when Doma greets her with a smile and talks so calmly, Shinobu is totally thrown off. I mean, come on, demons aren't usually this chill. They see humans and instantly go into attack mode. Just then, among the corpses around them, a barely alive girl pleads for help. Doma tries to silence her for good, but Shinobu saves her. Sadly though, she notices the girl's body has already been severely damaged by Doma's attack. And Doma, in his twisted logic, explains that he actually helped her. Because now she won't feel pain, won't suffer, won't fear anything. And since he plans to eat her, she'll live on inside him forever. Seriously, what kind of logic is that? This guy is insane. No wonder I can't stand him, and neither can Shinobu. When Doma calmly asks why Shinobu looks so upset, she finally snaps and shows real anger. She shouts, "You killed my sister!" And that line sparks Doma's memory. He remembers a girl who used flower breathing, the one he couldn't eat because the sun came up. Furious, Shinobu attacks and stabs him in the eye. Doma's surprised, but he uses his blood demon art to push her back. The air turns icy cold, and it becomes hard for Shinobu to breathe. Her lungs start giving out. Doma then mocks her, saying, "You're fast. I'll give you that. But don't you know? To kill a demon you have to cut off its head." Shinobu calmly replies, "I know I can't pierce a demon's neck. But what about poison?" And Doma starts coughing up blood. Shinobu watches anxiously, hoping her poison will work on an Upper Moon. But, as expected, his body adapts and neutralizes it. He's curious though, like a twisted scientist, wondering what her next poison will do. This guy is literally toying with a Hashira. But Shinobu's prepared. She knew things wouldn't be easy. And then, we get a glimpse into Doma's past. Turns out, he was the leader of a cult as a child, all because of his rainbow-colored eyes and snow-white hair. People thought he was a divine messenger, but Doma always felt sorry for them. He didn't believe in God or Buddha. To him, humans are born, feel pain, and die. That's it. No heaven, no afterlife, just dust. He thought people were foolish for not understanding this. Back in the present, we see Shinobu's fifth poison didn't affect Doma at all. He healed instantly. Meanwhile, Shinobu is barely holding on. None of her poisons worked. Her lungs are damaged, and breathing is getting harder. Even when she attacks, Doma effortlessly injures her, like it's a walk in the park. At this point, Shinobu starts doubting herself. Why are her hands so small? Why didn't she grow taller like her sister? She feels hopeless. But then, in her mind, she sees her sister standing before her, telling her to keep fighting. Even though she knows she's lost a lot of blood and can barely breathe, she tries to stand. And this is the magic of anime. Shinobu rises to her feet. Doma is genuinely shocked. He says, "How are you even standing?" "I crushed your lungs and ribs. You've lost so much blood." But Shinobu doesn't reply. Her mouth is filled with blood and she can't speak. Doma, unfazed, says, "Ah, I see. Your lungs are so full of blood your voice can't come out. Don't worry. I'll end your suffering for good." Even though Shinobu knew how dangerous Doma was, she still believed that if she could land a strike on his neck and inject her poison, she might actually win. And guess what? She does exactly that. Using her incredible speed, she pulls off a move so fast that even Doma can't predict it. She sneaks in from below and strikes him right on the neck. But, surprise! It doesn't affect him at all, not even a scratch. In fact, Doma just stands there smiling, like it was nothing. As Shinobu falls back to the ground, Doma catches her. Not only that, he starts crying. Yeah, crying. He tells her how she wasn't even that talented, yet she kept trying. He goes on, saying her efforts were pointless, and even wonders how someone so weak is still alive. And if you think he's going to let her go, nope. Doma begins absorbing her, literally eating her alive while she's still conscious. Right then, Kanao arrives and sees Shinobu in that horrific state. Shocked and furious, she charges straight at Doma, but he easily dodges her attacks. He even mocks her, saying, Whoa, careful. Don't interrupt while I'm absorbing someone." And honestly, this is exactly why I can't stand this guy. But hey, if anyone out there actually likes Doma, let me know in the comments. Back to the fight. Seeing Shinobu get absorbed right before her eyes fills Kanao with a rage we've never seen in her before. She's usually calm or has a faint smile, but now, she's burning with anger. And after completely absorbing Shinobu, Doma casually says, "Man, tonight's been wild. One tasty dish after another." Chapters later, we see Doma suddenly realize he can no longer sense Akaza's presence, which means only one thing. Akaza is dead. But Doma remembers feeling something strange from Akaza just before he vanished. Meanwhile, Kanao is in really bad shape. When Doma asks who she is, she tells him she's Shinobu's sister. But Doma looks confused. He says she doesn't even look like her, and assumes they're not blood-related. I mean, the guy clearly thinks he's some expert on women. Not in that way, but still. Speaking of women, Doma then remembers something about Akaza. Despite being Upper Moon 3, Akaza never once harmed or devoured a woman. Doma even believed women were more nutritious than men and could make demons stronger, but Akaza never even killed a woman. If you've seen my previous video, you probably know why. Back in the moment, Doma gets emotional thinking about Akaza, saying he was a great friend, but Kanao cuts him off. That's enough. Aren't you tired of lying? Doma is confused. Lying? What do you mean? And then, boom, Kanao hits him with a truth bomb. She says every word out of his mouth is fake. He doesn't feel anything. Not sadness, not anger, nothing. His face didn't turn red, his expression never changed, and she calls him out for being emotionally hollow. She says he's just pretending to feel so he can appear normal to others. But deep down, he's just an empty shell. This actually angers Doma, something we've never seen before, not even in the manga. He says, I've met so many girls, but you're the first one to be this rude to me. Before Kanao can even react, Doma lunges at her, but she narrowly escapes and even lands a counterattack, injuring him. Doma responds with his own counter, flinging Kanao across the room. But he starts noticing something. Kanao's speed is increasing. She's adapting to his fighting style, learning his moves. She even manages to hold her breath at times to avoid the freezing air from Doma's fan, something that had troubled Shinobu earlier. From all this, Doma realizes something important. Kanao is far stronger than the previous Hashira, Shinobu. Kanao herself confirms this. She says that every demon she's fought before feels like a baby compared to Doma. And the only reason she's still standing is because her rage is fueling her. And finally, when Kanao starts attacking again using her flower breathing technique, Doma is casually dodging her moves with a smile. He even counters effortlessly. But Kanao isn't backing down either. She uses her second form to nullify his counterattacks. At this point, Doma realizes something critical. Kanao's greatest strength lies in her eyes. She's able to predict his next move by reading even the smallest muscle twitches, from his shoulders, elbows, even his toes. So he goes straight for her eyes. Somehow she manages to narrowly escape the attack. Right after, Doma unleashes a chilling wave of his demon art. Kanao dodges again, but now, she's clearly in a hopeless situation. Doma keeps launching attack after attack, giving her no time to think or react. On top of that, he's got the upper hand with both mid-range and long-range attacks, making it nearly impossible for her to close the distance. He even mocks her, saying, "If you keep your distance like this, you'll never be able to cut off my head, so what's the point?" Next, we see him standing behind Kanao. But speed wasn't the real problem. Her sword was missing. Doma smugly reveals her blade, saying, "You weren't gripping it tight enough, so I thought I'd take it." He then launches a powerful attack, challenging her to come take it back. With no weapon, Kanao tries to position herself where the damage would be least, relying on her sharp vision. But right then, out of nowhere, Inosuke makes his entrance, literally crashing in through the ceiling, surprising both Kanao and Doma. He blocks the incoming attack just in time and declares, "Upper rank 2, I've figured out your secret art. Now I'll defeat you and become a Hashira." Doma, unfazed, says, "Yes, I am upper rank 2. It's not like I was trying to hide it." Inosuke then turns to Kanao and says, "How did you get so badly hurt? If Shinobu sees you like this, she'll scold you." Hearing that, Kanao falls silent, and Inosuke instantly understands Shinobu is gone. Doma, with that twisted grin, confirms it. "Oh, of course she's not dead. She's become a part of me, free from all suffering." Hearing this, memories of Shinobu flood into Inosuke's mind. He suddenly grows serious. His aura changes completely, and he charges at Doma. Kanao warns him not to breathe in the cold mist around Doma. Meanwhile, Doma laughs at Inosuke's clumsy technique, and even mocks his chipped sword. When he strikes, Inosuke dodges with ease and rushes to Kanao, not to fight, but to retrieve her sword. Doma is shocked, impressed by his unexpected speed. When the fight resumes, Inosuke holds his own pretty well. But he doesn't realize that Doma still isn't taking the battle seriously. Then, Inosuke attacks from a distance, which Doma finds laughable. But moments later, he realizes. His eyes have been injured. Turns out, Inosuke dislocated all the joints in his arms to increase his attack range. Kanao watches in concern, wondering what he'll do now. But guess what? Inosuke calmly resets all his joints back in place, leaving Kanao stunned. Doma just laughs again, calling his techniques slow. But when Inosuke responds, his mask suddenly flies off. Doma had pulled it off. And then comes the twist. When Doma sees Inosuke's face, he says, "I think I know you." Inosuke denies it and demands his mask back, but Doma insists, saying, "No, I've definitely seen you before." Then he literally sticks his finger in his head and spins it like a clock, trying to remember. Honestly, same reaction as Inosuke, like, what is this guy doing? But then it clicks. Doma remembers a woman holding a baby, begging for help. Her husband had abused her so badly she'd lost an eye. And because the baby looked so much like Inosuke, Doma is now certain Inosuke is her son. Inosuke completely rejects the idea. Throughout the series, he's believed that he was raised by boars. Furious, he lashes out at Doma. But his attacks do little, and Doma injures him further. Then Doma reveals that the woman used to hold her baby and sing the Pinky Promise song to him. And that is when Inosuke finally starts to remember hearing that same song in his childhood. After this, Doma reveals something unexpected. He never actually wanted to eat Inosuke's mother. He says pure-hearted people like her are rare, and his plan was to stay with her until she died of old age. But Inosuke's mom wasn't as clueless as she seemed. She only pretended to be naive, acting like she had a sloppy personality. In reality, she was sharp and quickly figured out that Doma was devouring his own followers. Doma tried to convince her with his twisted beliefs, but she didn't buy any of it and decided to escape. As she fled, she clutched little Inosuke and screamed, "Mama!" in desperation, knowing full well she always ended up near people who wanted to hurt her. But soon she hit a dead end, a cliff. Realizing there was no escape for her, she made the heartbreaking choice to throw Inosuke off the cliff, hoping he would survive. Thankfully, there was a river below that broke his fall. Right after that, Doma caught up and killed her on the spot. And he didn't stop there. He went on to say he devoured her flesh and bones too. According to him, if she had returned home, her husband would have killed her anyway. So in Doma's twisted view, both she and her son were destined to die like dogs. In the end, he dismissed her entire life as meaningless. Hearing all this, Inosuke was furious. But deep down, he was also grateful for standing face to face with the man who murdered his mother and friend. Without thinking twice, he launched an attack on Doma. Doma, however, countered by releasing his freezing mist. Inosuke, being smart, spun his dual blades like fans to blow the cold air away. Kanai then joined the fight, trying to land a surprise attack. But Doma's reflexes were insane. He dodged and countered so fast, even Kanai had to step back. Since Akaza had already been defeated, and these upper moons were supposed to protect Muzan, Doma left a deadly ice clone behind to keep them busy while he tried to escape. But don't think that clone was weak. It had almost the same power as Doma himself. Both Inosuke and Kanai struggled to dodge its attacks. As Doma was about to leave, he noticed something strange. Inosuke wasn't affected by his blood demon art. After observing carefully, he realized Inosuke's skin was extremely sensitive. Just a bit of cold air, and he'd hold his breath instinctively. That's why he hadn't inhaled the freezing mist. Seeing this, Doma summoned even more clones, planning to wipe out every demon slayer in the Infinity Castle. Just one clone was enough to nearly finish off Inosuke and Kanai. But then something unexpected happened. Doma's face started melting like wax. He was completely shocked. Turns out, Kanai already knew this would happen. We then get a flashback revealing that Shinobu had spent an entire year consuming wisteria flowers. Her entire body had become poisonous. Her blood was running with deadly venom. She had predicted that after killing her, Doma would try to consume her too, since he was obsessed with devouring women. At first, small doses of poison didn't work on Doma, but Shinobu had turned her entire body into a weapon. 37 kilograms of poison, over 70 times more lethal than usual. Slowly, Doma's body began to melt, even his bones. With his strength fading, the clones disappeared too. Shinobu had sacrificed herself to give Kanai a fighting chance. Kanai, refusing to let Shinobu's death be in vain, told Inosuke they had to attack together. But even in that dying state, Doma unleashed a massive attack, leaving both of them shaken. Breathing alone was becoming dangerous. At this point, Kanai had only one option left, to use her final form of flower breathing, Vermilion Eye. The catch? Using it more than twice could permanently blind her, but for Shinobu's sake, she didn't hesitate. She activated the form, dodged Doma's attack, and slashed at his neck. Since upper moon necks are tough, Inosuke threw his blade to apply extra pressure. That worked. Doma's head finally separated from his body. But even then, he hoped to survive like Muzan or Akaza. What he forgot was, Muzan was the demon king, and Akaza had powerful reasons to live. Not everyone gets that kind of miracle. And with that, Upper Moon 2, Doma, was finally gone. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's aim for 500 likes, because the next video might be an hour long, and we'll be diving into the legendary first breathing user, Yoriichi. So, yeah, I think I've earned that much from you.